Hey trainers, this is Melissa Taylor. I'm the Behavior and Training Manager at Friends for Life, Houston's premier no-kill animal shelter. I'm reporting from my backyard with my dogs Fox and Mama Dog, wherever she is. And we are now in week 2 of quarantine training or Quarantraining. Last week we talked about stationing or go to your mat, mostly with Fox, but Mama Dog also does it too. And it's super handy, especially when I've got two dogs training together. If you want to check out that video, I'll put the link below. But today we're going to start talking about leash walking. So instead of one trick this week, we're going to work on 4 easy exercises that you can use to teach your dog to walk nicely on the leash. We're going to do 2 today, we're going to do 2 tomorrow, and then for the rest of the week we're going to put all 4 of them together, and hopefully by the end of the week you'll see me walking both of my dogs in a very orderly fashion with no pulling and lots of paying attention. So I'm very excited. I haven't trained either of my dogs to do these behaviors, so we'll see in real time how this training takes place. The first exercise we're going to work on today is mobile eye contact, which just means that your dog looks at you while you're walking and stays by your side. This is a super exercise for leash walking because dogs will rarely pull you at the same time as make eye contact with you. The first thing I do is hold food away from my face and silently wait for Mama Dog to make eye contact with me. She happens to do this really quickly. Some dogs take a little bit longer. Mama Dog just happens to be the type of dog who makes eye contact with her handler very often. Here I've got to reward Fox for being such a good stationer and just hanging out on his bed after I told him to go to his bed. That's why stationing is the best exercise when you've got multiple dogs and want to train them at the same time. Note that when I treat Mama Dog, I'm giving her the food by my left side because that's ultimately where I want her to be when I'm walking. So if you want your dog to walk on your right side, try to treat them on the right side whenever you're rewarding them. Practice this lots because you want your dog to know that eye contact pays off big time, so that they'll offer you eye contact even when you start moving around. At this point, you might want to pause the video and practice the stationary eye contact for a while before moving on to the next step. Here's step 2. I am waiting for Mama Dog to make eye contact again, but this time I'm starting to pivot one step before I reward her. So she makes eye contact with me. I take a kind of step around in a circle with her on the outside of the circle, and I reward her. I've also changed how I'm holding my treats so that they're more at my side, which is a more natural location for when I'm walking. This is eventually going to be a hand signal for her to walk next to me and make eye contact. You might want to take advantage of another practice pause because this step takes a lot of coordination. There's a very subtle difference between step 3 and step 2. So in this case, I'm not stopping and waiting for Mama Dog to make eye contact with me. Instead, I'm continuously and slowly pivoting around to my right and rewarding her for eye contact every time she does it. This can make you pretty dizzy, so eventually change directions and start pivoting with the dog inside. This is a bit more challenging. Remember to reward the dog at the same side as you want them to be eventually when you're walking. Like I'm rewarding Mama Dog on my left, and she stays in the middle of the circle as I kind of turn around her. Keep practicing at this step until your dog is making eye contact as soon as they've finished eating a treat. Then you're ready to move on to larger circles. So here is step 5, and I'm going to start kind of walking around this small area, and I'm not really stopping so much as I can. I'm just waiting for her to make eye contact with me, and when she does, I'm rewarding her over by my left side. And occasionally I'm still paying Fox for being such a good stationer. At this point, I'm not really carrying treats in my hand anymore. I've just got an empty hand just held in that hand signal position, because who really wants to carry treats in their hands all the time anyway? So occasionally, whenever she looks at me, I'm running over to the little treat bowl over there and grabbing a reward for her, and sometimes some for Fox too. But essentially, my hand is just the hand signal. You get the picture. I did this a bunch more with her to make sure that she really got it. Overall, I was really impressed by how quickly she caught on. Many dogs won't be so fast, so don't worry if it doesn't happen for you the same way. I know that Mama Dog really wasn't nearly as good at stationing, so everybody's got their strengths. The second trick we're working on in this video is hand targeting, or touch, which means that your dog touches your palm with their nose. It sounds like kind of a useless behavior, but it's actually great to direct your dog to your side when walking. So I start off with one empty hand and a hand with treats in it, and I show Mama Dog my hand just a few inches in front of her nose, and when she touches it, I say yes and give her a treat. So I show my empty hand, and she touches my hand with her nose. I say yes and give her a treat. So I'm going to reward any kind of hand touching, even if it's very light, because she's never done this before. So I want to just reward any kind of targeting. So here's your chance to practice at home until your dog gets really good. When they're very good at close-up targeting, then you can start holding your hand out further and further away. You can start holding your hand out in different directions, and this is just to teach your dog that they should practice going out of their way to touch your hand, no matter where it is. Fox is such a sport here for staying on his bed for so long. In just a few minutes, most dogs are ready for step 3, which is adding the verbal cue or command, which is touch. So I'm going to say the word touch first, then show my hand, and then reward any contact with my hand. Again, it's important to do it in that order. You say the word touch, you show your hand, and then reward any contact. You can't really see how touch applies to leash walking just yet, but I promise that I'll show you it before the week is over. Tomorrow we're going to be working on 2 more exercises for leash walking, which are turning signals. Sound interesting? Check out our video tomorrow. Until then, I can't wait to hear your questions and see your videos in the comments below. Happy quarantraining!